Hello and welcome to 5 Minutes with NYIke. I am Isaac Sokolic or NYIke on Twitter. So happy you're here. This is our fourth episode together. We covered agile planning in our first episode. We then went on to DevOps. We covered becoming a data-driven organization. And now we're at the heart of digital transformation. Today, we're going to talk to you about the product management function. I'm here with my coffee from the Driving Digital and Star CIO Agile Planning mug. Keep watching these episodes and I will tell you how to win one of these in the future. But today, let's jump right into what is product management. Now, many people have the wrong notion and idea what product management is supposed to do. So let me clear it up with you. And it won't be easy in 5 minutes, but I can give you the notion of it. First and foremost, product management is listening to end users. The basic ones, the very important ones that might be paying a lot of money or using your product a lot. They're also listening to the loudest ones, the really angry customers, those that are not happy with the product or the service, and they're distilling all those requirements and needs. They're also listening to the CEO and everybody internally that has a loud voice about what the product should do. Now, what we used to do with all that information is we used to write this thing called a business requirements document. It could be 10 pages, it could be 200 pages. It was all the wisdom of all those requirements into a document and trying to send that off to a team to go execute on it. Now, what we learned over the years is that just doesn't work because markets move and customers' needs change, and simply because it's really hard to take all those requirements and get them right in specifying them on paper, and it's really hard to read and digest those things. So we stopped using requirements documents 20 years ago as more teams moved over to Agile, and we asked our product managers to start taking all those requirements in and putting them into a backlog. Now, that sounds simple enough, but the reality is we got some new stuff, new features that we want to do. We have defects, things that are not working in the product. And then we have technical debt, all the things that the technologists and the operators and the business operations teams come in and say, we need to fix around the product. So we're asking a product manager to take all this stuff, put it into a backlog, and then throw it at the team in sprint-sized chunks so that they can go execute on it. And then we ask them to understand all that demand, all this stuff that everything that everybody wants to do, understand capacity, which is probably a subset of it, and then make everybody happy in terms of trying to deliver everything. The reality is very few people get happy with this process. Why? Because we're just taking the voice of everybody, trying to put it into a small funnel of development teams that can go execute and trying to get everything done when we know that that's not the case. Now, we know this is not product management today. This is basically somebody in charge of a backlog. It's not really understanding how to take the cohesive understanding of what everybody needs and coming up with a real strategy and a real plan to execute on it. So let's look at this picture a little bit differently. Let's look at it in terms of what product managers should be doing. Now let's think of product management as the center of the universe. We want them to be listening to customers. We want them to be listening to where markets are going, where the industry is going. We also want them to listen to our internal stakeholders, our executives, but also our operators and our engineers and our marketers and our finance group. And we want them to be highly strategic. We want them to come up with a statement around strategy. We want them to define a vision around their product. We need personas and segments so that we know how to best define a product around them. And we need them to have a perspective on the experience that's going to drive the value that our customers need around this product. We then want them to work with our engineering teams very differently. We don't want requirements document. We also don't want a funnel of all these different ideas. We want a partnership between the product owner and the product manager and their agile teams so that they can work collectively as a group, whether it's one product or multiple products, to go to market and see success release after release around that product. Now, the product manager in the center of the universe, that creates a ton of tension. right? They need to listen to everybody. They have to make decisions. They have to define what that product needs for it to grow. And that creates a tension with the engineering groups. It creates a tension with stakeholders. So I've collected some of my best articles for you around this. It's at the URL blogs.starcio.com/product manager. It's going to tell you the bad behaviors of product managers. It's going to tell you where agile teams need to partner. And then it's going to give you a lot of the best practices around how to make the product management successful. Thanks for joining this episode of 5 Minutes with NYIke.